You probably think you have a pretty good handle on your money. You weigh your options and you make calm, logical choices. But then you look at the actual numbers. People consistently carry credit card balances charging 22% interest, while keeping a separate savings account earning less than 1%. On paper, that makes 0 sense. We act this way because we don't make decisions in a neutral vacuum. Every store, every app, and every menu you interact with is a carefully designed environment, built specifically to bypass your logic. Most of the time, you aren't autonomously choosing how to spend your cash. You're reacting to a series of invisible psychological nudges retailers have perfected for decades. Let's start with how you figure out what something is worth. We like to believe we can just look at an item and intuitively know if it's a good deal. But your brain actually latches on to the first price it sees, a glitch behavioral economists call anchoring. If you see a jacket priced at $400 and then told it's on sale for $199, it feels like a steal. If you just saw the exact same jacket for $199 with no discount, it wouldn't. Your brain locked onto that $400 anchor and measured everything else against it. The restaurant industry weaponizes this exact vulnerability. When you look at a menu like this one, you might notice expensive items right at the top, like roast prime ribs or a whole turkey. Nobody actually orders those top-tier items. They aren't there to be bought. They act as a psychological safety net, so when you scan down to the moderately priced chicken dinners, those suddenly look like a totally reasonable, safe choice. That single initial number dictates your entire perception of a bargain. It overrides any objective assessment of what the product is actually worth to you. Logically, a dollar is a dollar. It has the exact same purchasing power regardless of where it came from. But we rarely treat it that way. We engage in mental accounting, meaning we value money differently based on its source. A $50 bill earned from a hard shift at work gets spent carefully and deliberately. A $50 tax refund gets blown on dinner without a second thought. Creating different rules for different buckets of money is exactly how people justify putting a holiday bonus toward a lavish vacation, while simultaneously struggling to pay for basic groceries or rent. By artificially segregating our income, we blind ourselves to our true financial reality. A windfall isn't free money that doesn't count, but our brains trick us into treating it like it is. We also carry around the assumption that when we buy a physical good, we are buying it strictly for its utility, what it actually does. In reality, a huge portion of our spending is driven by conspicuous consumption, buying things specifically to signal status to a perceived audience. Modern social media has accelerated this instinct, making it easier than ever to see what everyone else has and harder to resist keeping up. Similarly, a lot of spending is purely emotional. Buying a new phone or a pair of shoes provides a short-term hit of control and dopamine, counteracting the stress from a tough week. Most discretionary spending has very little to do with the physical product itself. You are making a transaction to acquire a temporary feeling or a social signal. There is an inherent psychological discomfort humans feel when they have to physically count out bills and hand them over. Economists call this the pain of paying. Over the decades, retailers and banks have systematically erased this discomfort by abstracting money. It started with vintage credit cards like this one, moving us away from physical cash. Today, with saved checkout pages and frictionless tap-to-pay tech on your phone, the pain of paying barely registers at all. They pair this frictionless spending with the endowment effect. This is a quirk where once we possess something, like a free trial to a streaming app, we psychologically overvalue it simply because it is ours. Companies leverage this beautifully. They make signing up completely effortless, but navigating the cancellation process is an absolute maze. By the time you try to quit, giving up the service doesn't feel like saving money, it feels like losing something you own. Retailers have engineered a brilliant ecosystem. They have made the act of spending money feel completely effortless, while ensuring that stopping that spending feels like a painful sacrifice. The standard self-help advice for all of this is simply to have more discipline. Just use your willpower to overcome bad spending habits. But willpower is a finite resource. As the day wears on, you experience decision fatigue, a literal biological depletion of your cognitive defenses after making choices all day long. This is exactly why grocery stores place high-impulse, low-nutrition items right at the end of your shopping journey. After 40 minutes of comparing prices and picking vegetables, your rational brain is exhausted, and your impulses take over. The antidote to a system designed to remove friction isn't more willpower, it's putting the friction back in. Implementing a mandatory 24-hour waiting period before any non-essential purchase gives your rational brain the time it needs to catch up with your impulse. True financial freedom isn't about never spending money. It is about recognizing these invisible behavioral nudges so you can finally start making your purchases on purpose.